7 reasons why chosen ones secretly struggle with lust. Many people believe that being a chosen one means living a life free from struggles, but the reality is quite the opposite. Those called for a divine purpose often face spiritual battles, and one of the greatest among them is lust. Why? Because the enemy targets those who are set apart. The battle is not just physical, it's spiritual, emotional, and psychological. Here are 7 reasons why chosen ones secretly struggle with lust. Number 1. The enemy seeks to distract and weaken them. Chosen ones have a special calling on their lives, and the enemy knows this. One of the easiest ways to weaken a person's spiritual strength is by attacking their purity. Lust is not just about physical temptation. It is a powerful tool that can lead to shame, guilt, and distraction. The enemy understands that if he can get a chosen one entangled in lustful desires, he can distract them from their true purpose. Instead of focusing on their calling, they end up battling guilt, temptation, and cycles of sin. This is why chosen ones often find themselves in an internal war between their spirit and their flesh. Number 2. High spiritual sensitivity can lead to increased temptation. Being spiritually gifted means being more in tune with energies, emotions, and even spiritual atmospheres. While this is a blessing, it can also be a curse when it comes to lustful temptations. Chosen ones often feel things on a deeper level, making them more susceptible to sensual desires and temptations that others might easily ignore. This heightened awareness can sometimes lead to unexpected lustful thoughts or attractions, making it seem like the struggle is stronger than usual. The enemy takes advantage of this by placing certain people or situations in their path to trigger these feelings. Number 3. Loneliness can open doors to lustful temptations. Many chosen ones experience seasons of isolation where they feel disconnected from the world or even from relationships. While this isolation is often necessary for spiritual growth, it can also become a breeding ground for lustful thoughts and behaviors. When a person is lonely, they are more vulnerable to fantasizing, seeking validation through relationships, or turning to physical desires for comfort. The need for intimacy and connection is natural, but without the right spiritual discipline, it can lead to lustful indulgence. This is why many chosen ones must be extra careful about what they consume, whether it's social media, entertainment, or even conversations that can trigger inappropriate desires. Number 4. Unresolved trauma and emotional wounds. Many chosen ones have experienced deep pain, rejection, or abuse in their past. This can sometimes manifest as a struggle with lust because the mind associates physical pleasure with a way to escape pain. For example, someone who was emotionally neglected as a child may seek validation through sexual attraction or relationships. This is because lust becomes a form of temporary healing, even though it ultimately leaves them feeling empty. The enemy uses past wounds to create cycles of temptation, making it harder for chosen ones to break free from lustful thoughts and behaviors. Until these wounds are healed, the struggle can continue. Number 5. The flesh is naturally opposed to the spirit. The Bible teaches that the flesh and the spirit are in constant conflict. Galatians 5:17. Chosen ones, despite being spiritually gifted, still live in human bodies that crave earthly pleasures. Lust is a natural temptation that affects everyone, but for those with a divine calling, the battle is often more intense. The enemy specifically targets their flesh because he knows that if he can weaken the body, the spirit will struggle to remain strong. This is why fasting, prayer, and spiritual discipline are so important. Without them, the desires of the flesh can easily overtake the power of the Spirit. Number 6. Society encourages lust and sexual temptation. We live in a world that is saturated with lust. Everywhere you turn, whether it's music, movies, or social media, there is a constant exposure to sexual temptation. For chosen ones, this is even more challenging because they are called to live set apart from the world. However, being human, they are still affected by what they see and hear. The constant bombardment of lustful imagery and messages makes it difficult to stay pure. This is why many chosen ones feel like they are in a never-ending battle. The more they try to resist, the more they are exposed to things that trigger their weaknesses. Number 7. Lust is a spiritual battle, not just a physical one. Many people think of lust as just a physical temptation, but in reality, it is a spiritual attack. Ephesians 6:12 reminds us that we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers. Lust is often a spirit of temptation that comes to derail chosen ones from their purpose. It operates through thoughts, dreams, and even unexpected encounters designed to lead them astray. Breaking free from this struggle requires more than just willpower. It requires spiritual warfare. Through prayer, fasting, and renewing the mind with God's word, chosen ones can overcome lust and walk in the purity they are called to. The struggle with lust is real, but it is not unbeatable. Chosen ones must understand that their battle is not just about physical temptation. It is a spiritual attack meant to distract and weaken them. By staying spiritually disciplined, healing from past wounds, and avoiding unnecessary temptations, they can overcome this challenge. Lust may be a secret struggle, but God has given His people the power to break free. If you've been battling with lust, remember, you are not alone, and with God's strength, victory is possible.